Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, how y'all doing? Listen, today is going to be a treat because I have a blessed woman of God behind me in the background who is ready to come in here and give you guys and myself some keys, some wisdom, some knowledge to get to the next level in our lives when it comes to money and finances. This is my sister from Columbus, Georgia. I met her in Columbus, Georgia. I don't know if she was born in Columbus or not, but um, I'm not gonna hold y'all up. I've been on, my introduction kind of long, which I love, and I hope your day is well. But we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get to my homie, big sis, Miss Erica Brooks Henry. How you doing? Good evening. How you doing? Oh, let me unmute you. My bad. I apologize. Good evening. How you doing?
Look, I'm doing amazing. Super, super, super excited to be with my brother from another mother. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. How you been doing?
I've been doing good. Loving Dallas.
How you love Dallas?
Oh my God. It's Jesus lives here.
Amen.
I always tell people Jesus lives in Dallas. And
Amen.
I'm a foodie, so that fits.
Really?
Good food, good weather, a little bit hot, too hot for some people, but I love it.
Hey,
I love it.
Dallas will start snowing every now and then if you ain't careful.
You know what? But you know what? It lasts a day or two, and it's much like Georgia. When it snows, the whole city shuts down because we're not
Right.
equipped for it.
Right.
But nothing heavy, nothing, just light. The same, similar weather as Georgia. Happens, snows maybe every couple of years. City shuts down, then we go back to normal.
Okay. All right. So let's get right into it. Okay. Who are you? Where are you from? How did you get to the position that you're in right now to help us get to the next level?
Okay, got it. Well, I am Erica Brooks Henry. And who am I? You know what? I'm just an everyday average person, like everyone else. That just decided it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Right.
I.e., that's why it's the name of my brand, Finish Wealthy. What do I do? I consider myself a wealth strategist. And the reason why I say strategist is because, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God has given you the power to get wealth. I provide the roadmap. A lot of times we're spiritual, right? But the practical part of we have ideas, but we need strategy, right?
Right. Right.
And so I'm the founder of Finish Wealthy. I am from Columbus, Georgia. Haven't always lived there, but have maintained really in Georgia, the Atlanta area. And for the last almost 2 years, maybe make 2 years, I've been in Dallas, Texas. So how did I get to where I am? Really, honestly, just bumping my head a lot of times. And when I think about it, I think about John Maxwell says it's okay to fail, just fail forward. And so I feel like I failed a lot in the area of finance, meaning I purchased things prematurely. I didn't come from money, but my mindset was money should come from me.
Right.
I adopted bad habits or even seen good habits, but wasn't comfortable enough to adopt those habits. So, really lessons learned just made me say, you know what, you have to get to a point where you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, or
Right.
when you really take the word, you realize that, um, it is God's will for you to prosper, but it's going to take strategy to get there. So really getting more discipline in my life and just one step at a time. And I still haven't arrived.
Okay.
I'm better and helping people along the way.
So I see that you just got done with Fitz Wealthy conference. Could you tell us more about what Finish Wealthy Conference is and the whole ministry, or do you consider ministry or marketplace? And could you, enlighten us as
So
to what it is?
I want to say it's not a conference per se. It is a boot camp. And the reason why I say that is because I'm really kind of done with conferences. And I know that sounds bad, but what I'm saying, I'm done with the just empowerment piece alone because I believe that we've got enough encouragement. It's time to implement. We need
Hmm.
strategy, right?
Okay.
So Finish Wealthy is exactly what it is. It's not, it wasn't, we hear the word wealth and some people I noticed through that was intimidated by it. But wealth is that wholeness word, above all, wish you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. But most importantly is Deuteronomy 8:18. God has given you the power to get wealth. I provide a roadmap. And whatever I don't know, Finish Wealthy was bringing in other professionals to get those pieces. So it was a heads down boot camp that in the room, you got practical strategy. Not the type of strategy that was just going to lead you to a coaching program and you didn't know what to do after. It was literally going to give you the tools and resources to implement. If you wanted to start a business, you knew how to start a business. If you had a business and you wanted to scale up to multiple figures, you knew what to do. We had a CFO that was there to talk to us about the importance of knowing your numbers and reading your statements and walked us through that. We had a business attorney who was there, Tony Moore, who talked about the importance of protecting your brand through trademarks, copyrights, succession plan. Like, okay, you're a business owner. Why build a business and not protect it, right? So, what is that next level? Having a will, having a trust, and things of that nature. We had a podcasting gentleman there, Jonathan, who's done it full time. In ministry, ministry looks different. So, we can get our word out more by podcasting the right way, the proper
Mm-hmm.
way,
Right.
doing it well. And just different people from different areas and have different expertise that were in the room giving that practical strategy so we can walk out the room and implement and truly finish wealthy and live our scripture. So finish wealthy was a collide. You asked the question, was it ministry or marketplace? It was a collide of both. So not only am I the founder of Finish Wealthy, my husband are the founders of Collide Ministries Worldwide, or the Collide Hub, which is basically we collide the spiritual and the practical. We collide ministry and marketplace
Mm-hmm.
because I believe so long we've been, when the praises go, the blessings come down. We've been naming and claiming, but at the end of the day, faith without works is dead,
No
and
action.
we need
Yeah.
to go and do it. Finish Wealthy was basically, okay, this is the work. The work ain't sexy, but we're gonna have to do the work, and so
Right.
we're gonna give you the tools and the strategy to do the work.
Okay. So I'm glad you mentioned your husband. Now he's not here. I know you say he's off in another room, but as a woman of God who had a ministry and had business sense and things like this, when you first met this man, he seems like amazing. A guy. I haven't had a chance to meet him yet, but do you think that it's been easier, or it has it been a little bit more tedious or harder being married, trying to adjust and build a ministry and a marketplace and things like this together at one time?
Okay. I think for me, it was harder. For him, it was easier. And I said it was challenging for me because when you're single, you can really be married to your business, right? You really
Right.
can. You're not accountable to anyone, so you can spend as much time as you want in your business, as much time as you want in your ministry, and you don't have to consider anyone. So adjusting was a process and not an event, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to remember. I always heard married people say, marriage is your first ministry. I thought that I was being intentional, but I wasn't as intentional as I needed to be in the beginning. So it's still continual adjustment and continually being intentional. And so having date night is important. Having time where you put the phone aside, and I don't care if you have a text message or a phone call, knowing that this is time with your spouse. But then also being honest about, you know what, babe, I have a deadline, I have something really working on, or I have a strategy session on today. And just having those honest conversations and tweaking and adjusting as needed. And I would say the biggest thing is also having discernment. Sometimes you may have something planned, but you got to use wisdom. You know, you could feel when your spouse is pulling on you. You could feel when they need you. So it hasn't been easy because both of our worlds collided. He's in business and he's, came out of, ministry as well. So now, and our styles are different.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, how do we operate and flow together when our styles are different? And how
Mm-hmm.
do we collide the two together? So it's constant tweaking. So to be honest with you, we are 4 years in. August will make 4 years of being married, and we're just not really getting into a rhythm.
I remember my pastor in Savannah he was teaching on relationships one day. He told the women, he was like, ladies, that lady doesn't want your 5-year husband. He wants your 25-year husband, because we both know becoming one takes a lifetime. And like you
Yeah.
said, you're almost 4 years in, and y'all just now really trying to get this, this sack race together where y'all could be in union to go, forth in what you're doing. But I want to know, how has the church as a whole, not the local church, but the church as a whole, embraced what you're doing with your ministry, with Finish Wealthy? Has it embraced it, or has it rejected it? Because we know that there has been a lot of name it and claim it. Let's shout and run around and, God gonna do it. So this and that's gonna happen. But again, it still takes strategy. And I know that's what you specialize in. So how has the church said, let's lock arms to do what we need to do to get our people to the next level?
I would say the church has rejected it, but the kingdom has embraced it, because I think
Ooh,
there's a difference between kingdom and church.
ooh, ooh.
So
You want to step in there
honestly,
early. Go ahead.
yeah, honestly, the region that I came out of, and I'll name the region, Columbus, Georgia. I believe that, and I'll say it boldly. I believe that it's like a spirit of poverty hovering over the city.
Mhm.
Not everyone, right? And so when I tried to introduce ministry and marketplace, because here it was, I was operating as a pastor in the church. I wasn't the senior pastor, but I still had a business, and the business was teaching finance and doing financial boot camps. And then I would get preached on, almost like I had to limit myself to preaching, and that I was a distraction. And then, I was rebellious. And at one time, the people was told, "Hey, you need to go to Erica and get life insurance, or you need to go to Erica Financial Boot Camp." And then the people were told, "Don't go. That you don't need to go to her stuff." They were stopped. And so there was a lot of rejection related to what I do, and I didn't really see people, I would say, on the church side starting to embrace what I do until the pandemic, when
Mm.
people all of a sudden, marketplace ministry wasn't even thought of as a real thing, because either you had to be if you're a pastor, you're a pastor. If you a minister, you're a minister. If you're whatever, you really didn't need to do other things. But during the pandemic, people got creative and realized, I need to find something else to do. A lot of entrepreneurs were birthed, and then people began to respect it. So there was a lot of rejection, but I would say me doing what I do now really came from deliverance. I
Mhm.
knew that God called me beyond the walls. And even though I would preach, but I still say at the end of the day, my anointing is marrying the practical to the spiritual. So if someone says, hey, that's a fake prophet, they prophesied a house. My thing was, no, they're not a fake prophet. You don't work on your credit. You don't know. So my thing is,
Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on.
um,
Hold on.
so you don't have the
Okay, hold on.
Bible.
Let's
No.
say that one more time. Say that one more time for the
So you
people.
hear things like, people been prophesying. I've got two prophecies about a house, and you want to declare them a fake prophet. No, you didn't work on your credit. Nobody taught you about a FICO score. And so I know that my anointing was, after you get the word, you have to walk towards the prophecy. You have to live. The work part is, someone prophesied a house. That means I have the anointing. God's favor is on me getting a house, which means I'm going to have to know in the practical ways to get there. What is my FICO score? What is my income? Let me do the work towards that. Right division, make it plain, is, what is that? That's your business plan. What is that? That's your will. A
Right.
good man leaves inheritance to his children's children. That's your life insurance. So
Mhm.
my thing is colliding the two and making the word plain, right? So
Mhm.
Deuteronomy 8, it says God is giving the ability to get wealth. Another version says the power to get wealth. But God never said, I'm going to make you wealthy. So my gifting is to say, now how do we walk out scripture in the natural to walk it out? Because it's going to take strategy. And
Right.
so the kingdom is now embracing it. And I, like, last year, October, I was flown out of Chicago, and I did a class on the wealth factor. I was booked out of that. I got another booking in Chicago later this year for the wealth factor. Other people are starting to catch on and realizing that the two must coexist. But it's almost like some people, it's almost like a lot of people, I was their closet help, if that make any sense.
Right.
I felt like the secret lover, because you talked so bad about marketplace ministry, or you didn't believe in this. In the background, I'm helping you pull your house out of foreclosure.
Yeah.
In the background, I'm helping you in some critical situations, because I was trusted. But it's just crazy. So now I think that I'm just aligned with the right people. So it doesn't matter to me at this point who rejects it or not. I know what my mantle is and what God has called me to do. And I know that equipping is not just spiritual. We need practical tools. It's the same thing with therapy. I believe in therapy. You can have Jesus in therapy. So
Right.
you can have the word and the practical strategy to be empowered to get the things that God said we can have.
So it's kind of sort of like people were basically acting like Nicodemus when he came to Jesus. Although the church was, downplaying who Jesus was in the moment, but Nicodemus
Yeah.
still snuck out and said, "Hey, are you that guy or not?" I'm paraphrasing, people.
Yes.
Please don't send me no
Yeah, I
email
get it.
talking about I'm taking the scripture out of context. I'm not. But it's almost like that, you're helping people in the background, they're benefiting from it, yet when it comes to helping other people, it's almost like they're being selfish and hoarding the information and the knowledge. And that's a big no-no when it comes to the kingdom, because there's a lot of space and a lot of opportunity for every last one of us, because we all don't specialize in the same thing. And I really
Mhm.
wish people would just get that out of their minds, that we all got to be pigeonholed and put into this little box, that if we're not doing it this way, then we're not doing it God's way. Well, God is very vast. He's not stuck on that little box you decide to put us in to make it seem as if though, we're not, in his will. But I do want to ask you this: the stuff that you're talking about, like, is there an age minimum or maximum, or can anybody do what you're saying, what we're talking about today?
I would say there's not really a minimum or maximum. My thing is it's a mindset.
Mhm.
So we have to have. I think what I've learned is I started teaching money from a wrong angle initially. I just started going in, but really it's about mindset. Wealth is about mindset because it doesn't matter what I teach at any age. If you don't have the right mindset, then you're not going to grasp it.
Mhm.
So the word tells us, "Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of our mind." And if we have the wrong mindset of, okay, I don't have any money, I don't have this credential or that credential, or my parents didn't teach me about money, I didn't learn about money in school, and we're going to stay stuck. But we have to have the mindset of, okay, it doesn't matter whether my parents taught me about money. It doesn't matter what my credentials are. It doesn't, I know what the scripture says. God has given me the power to get wealth. I know it says, above all, wish you may prosper and be in good health, even as, so we believe the word, right? And
Right.
then say, and then want more, right? So the mindset is at any age, if you are in high school and you say, you know what, I want to be a full-time entrepreneur, or I seen some things in my family and I want to be a curse breaker or whatever. If you have that mindset, then you can really be driven to say, oh, well, I want to be this particular career path. And you'll just drive toward that path and
Right.
be focused and disciplined enough to do it. So mindset, discipline, and being coachable are the most important things, and not age. Because a lot of millionaires came millionaires in their 40s, in their 50s. A lot of people, not just millionaires, just really came into themselves. To
Mhm.
be honest with you, it took me, I've been teaching finance since I was in my 20s, but it wasn't until I got into my 40s that I really got delivered from what the church thought, because
Mhm.
I was allowing people to put me in a box because I wanted to keep the peace.
Right.
But it took really owning the fact that I'm not called just to the four walls of church. I'm not just called to preach. I am a teacher. I'm apostolic, and I'm a teacher. I have the gift of teaching, and I want to teach people very practical ways to be able to walk out, the word. So really at any age. And I even think that we can start late and finish wealthy, which means that if we're coachable and we have the right strategy and the right tools, we can catch up. And
Right.
remember, wealth is not just money, you know,
Yeah. Come on.
holistically,
Yeah.
you know, it's health. It's, other things. It's mental health. It's wellness, and things of that nature. So basically, I'll just say start where you are. And I want to preface that to say one of my favorite movies is Pursuit of Happiness.
Mhm.
And that was based on Chris Gardner.
Right.
And Chris Gardner said that after that movie, he would be in the subway and people just come up to him and said, "Man, how did you survive that? How did you come out of that situation?" And he would just say, "Start where you are." And so I would just say, it's starting where you are.
Mhm.
Stop discounting yourself. Get rid of the noise, the negative thoughts in your head that this is not for me, this can't be for me. And when you start where you are, start small, start $5 saving, $20. Because guess what? It's not about, we think about, when we hear the word wealth, we think about tons and tons of money, but it's really about even just money. Let's just take wealth out. Saving is not about the amount, it's about developing the habit.
Right. Right.
Discipline is not about just stopping everything. Like, I'm not going to eat out again. It's just about changing. Maybe I'm not going to eat out every day,
Right.
but I may eat out twice a week.
It may come in seasons. It may come in waves. You may say, "We're good. I've
Mhm.
been cooking at home every day this month. Well, this week we're gonna go to Chick-fil-A, or Texas Roadhouse or whatever. And I'm not trying to shout these people out because they ain't paying us, but I get what you're saying. We have to take just the baby steps. This is something small.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, like I talked about last week. You got to accomplish something. Your
Mhm.
your your confidence, and this goes for men and women. You accomplish something, and a lot of times, and I don't want people who aren't like you said, wealth is part of the mental health is part of it. Sometimes you may have to go get yourself checked out if you can't seem to focus. Sometimes you may have to start you may have to put other things first before you can get to the building the money thing. Paying off debt is not easy. I've done it before, and I can tell you, coming up, going back to Columbus, for whatever reason, and I know we had this conversation before online. No matter what I did, I could not thrive in Columbus, Georgia. No, I'm talking
Mhm.
about no matter what job I had, no matter I left Columbus, I moved to Savannah, started thriving. Left Savannah, moved to Douglasville, still thriving. And my mindset, I'm a truck driver, so I was paying $1,300 for a 1 bedroom apartment. Okay. And I had no problem with paying the $1,300. It was very easy for me to do. But in my mind, I'm thinking I need to be a better steward. Let me get to a place where I can, if I'm not going to be at home, at least I can save money so I can start putting it towards a house. I decided to go back to Columbus. I found a 2 bedroom, 1.5 bathroom townhouse with wash and dry connection for $850. You can't beat that in 2021, 2022.
Mhm.
Didn't last the whole year. It did not last the whole year because I don't. And I'm talking about I lost my business, I lost my cars, I lost my credit cards, my old cell phone. I mean, everything. I could not do it. So I decided to move, and then my next stop started thriving all over again. So it's a
Right.
lot of things. Area. A whole lot of these things play a factor in
Yes.
what it is that you do. Do you? Well, I know you being in Dallas. Do you think you could have done this in any other city besides where you come from?
I would say I was thriving in Atlanta, so I have had two bouts. I'm from the same area, Columbus, so I definitely understand. I could not thrive there.
Right.
So I lived in Atlanta in two seasons.
Mhm.
The first season was from '96 to 2005. Then I moved back to Columbus. Then I moved to the Atlanta area, which was Noonan, Georgia,
Mhm.
from 2018 up until May of 2023. And then I moved to Dallas. Well, my increase began to happen when I moved, even though Noonan is only an hour from Columbus.
Yep.
Once you get past LaGrange, there's a shift in the atmosphere. You can
Yep.
feel it. It's like the principalities are different.
Yep.
But because God was saying, kind of get ye out of that country, and I didn't know anybody in Noonan
Right.
because when I lived in Atlanta before, I lived in Buckhead, I lived in Lawrenceville, and I just didn't know anybody. And so it really was me by myself, and I was building. When I moved, and within the first 60 days, I started making the same amount of money. Well, first of all, that year before I moved, I started making six figures. That was a goal of mine.
Mhm.
I started matching my business income with my corporate income. And I believe it's because of obedience. So what I will say is the divine alignment is very important to increase. Sometimes it's not that your business is not you didn't miss God.
Right.
It's not a bad business idea. It is sustainable, but sometimes you're planted in the wrong place. And
Oof.
that's important. So when just that time in Noonan, I began to, I want to give a testimony here because I want people to really, really hear me about the importance of being aligned in the right area. So I worked at a company that is a Fortune 500 company, a company in Georgia who I won't even name that everybody feel like you should retire from.
Uh,
And
is it
there were
insurance?
people, absolutely.
Okay.
And so I applied for at least over my tenure there, 6 years, at least 100 jobs and got declined for each one of them. And so I remember when the Lord spoke to me and said, your promotion is outside. But I saw other people getting promoted over me, and I was bitter and I was getting resentful. Like, Lord, I'm faithful and I'm a tither and I'm trying to live right and whatever. And these people are getting, I know that I'm qualified. And God began to tell me, work diligently as unto Him and not as unto the Lord, basically, right? And
Right.
stop murmuring and complaining. And so I had to kind of suck it up. Work as unto the Lord. And God says, stop working your business on your job.
Oh, spend your time there with them like you're supposed
Yeah.
to. And when you come
Render to
home,
Caesar what is Caesar's, right?
right, right, right,
So I was faithful. I was doing it. It was hard. It was tough, because everybody else worshiped this company. You need to retire from this company, whatever. But I had a business,
right.
and I go through warfare because the people that I was connected to social media was like, she don't want to work here anyway. She's doing her little blah 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 blah. So I had to block, you know,
Yep.
colleagues from social media. So I remember one time I left a toxic meeting. Now, by this time, now this was in 2019. I had moved. Now I had been there from 20. I was there 6 years, but I had already moved to Noonan, right? I moved to Noonan and I was commuting back and forth for a year.
Ooh, every day?
I was commuting for 1 year because God said go,
Right,
right?
right.
But for a year, I was commuting back and forth. I commuted from August of 2018 to September 2019. I'm a little bit over a year from
Wow.
Noonan to Columbus because God said go, right? So
Wow.
anyway, one day I was leaving a meeting. It was just so toxic. I was like, Lord, this just can't be you. And I said, Lord, um, I said, even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table.
Mm,
I'll take the crumbs.
wow.
And I was sitting, I left the meeting and literally, I promise you, I was sitting in my car and I had to go from one building to another. And within 15 minutes, I got a phone call of a job that I applied for 2, 3 months ago. Now I had
Wow.
got a decline letter from this job. Or at least I thought. Maybe it was two titles, same job number. And they said, hey, Erica, blah, blah, blah. We want you to come in for an interview. It was a job in Atlanta. And then the interview was literally like days away. The day the interview came, one of the supervisors came over. Erica, I got some work for you to do, blah, blah, blah. It was literally an hour before my interview. And I
Mm-hmm.
was going to cancel my interview because I got loyal, right? They was
Right,
giving me more
right.
stuff to do.
Yep.
How about I had decided not to do the interview and I went back to my desk and someone texted me from the company and said, hey, Erica, are you still able to interview with us? And
They,
then I called her and she said, did you not get were you supposed to get a link or something? And I said, no, I didn't get a link. God covered me that they never sent me out a link.
wow.
I went to my conference room where I was supposed to hold the interview because I had a room reserved. Somebody was in the room. And even though I had it reserved.
Wow.
So I went to another room. It was 15 minutes into the interview. And when we got on the call, they said, hey, Erica, we're just so sorry. HR has been messing up. They haven't sent you the link. But in reality, I had changed my mind.
Wow.
And I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed. I am 15 minutes late to an interview. Bam, bam. It was 7 people, 7-panel interview on the phone, knocking out questions, knocking out questions, knocking out questions. Fast forward, the next day I was in my manager's office. I had my phone on desk. I seen the company call and couldn't answer. Went back and called. Oh, Erica, you nailed the interview. They want you to come in to the office in Duluth. I was like, how in the world? I guess because your back is up against the wall. But the end story is this.
Right.
I was at a company, a Fortune 100 company for 6 years. God told me that he was going to promote me out of there. God told me to work diligently as unto the Lord. I was making, I want to say maybe about 55,000 or whatever. God gave me a 50 something $1,000 raise.
Wow.
I immediately, my goal was to go from 6 figures. I got a whole nother salary increase.
Wow.
And so what I'm saying, and so, but I relocated like the Lord told me to.
Right.
I worked diligently as unto the Lord as God told me to. And there were some other things along the way. I want to say the last 60 days while I was there, I started parking in visitors parking. I said, because this is not my home.
Okay,
And
so
probably
let's recap. What you just said was faith and works all rolled into one. Because you said you had the faith that you finally got the interview. Then you were about to reject the interview, but it's like God said, I got you. We're not even gonna send you the link right now. Then you got the interview, you knocked it out, and then once you realized they offered you the new salary, it was in another area, just way up in Atlanta, up in Duluth. If you know anything about Atlanta, you know where it is. And then you decided that you're gonna not even park in the regular employee parking lot because you knew that it wasn't gonna be long before you left there.
But no, even before that, 60 days prior, I had started parking in visitor parking. I said, because this is not my home. And probably 90 days or more before that, I had cleaned off my desk because I said at any moment, I just want to be able to walk out with my
Yep,
purse. I don't want any pictures. I don't want any books. I don't want anything because I was preparing for the promise.
yep, yep,
And so, but it's really obedience is better than sacrifice. The faith of relocating, the faith of believing God and taking God at His word.
yep,
Um, Murmuring and complaining, it was hard not to because I just it was such a dislike and not trying to make people change your mind because this is a good company, right?
right, right.
It is a good company. It's a great company, but it's not God's will for me.
For
It's not
you,
God's will
right,
for me.
right,
But
right.
even with the increase in the salary, God began to increase my business because one thing that I promised God that even be in the corporate sector, I'm not going to abort what you gave me.
Right.
And so I just say remaining faithful, but doing the work. But guess what? Even with those jobs, I had applied for so many jobs, but I was very intentional in customizing my resume because there's a keyword search. This is the
Yep.
work that I'm talking about that's going to tie into your increase. We have to, if we want something different, we have to do something different.
Right.
And guess what? When I got the increase, I did not increase my lifestyle.
And that's probably one of the biggest keys because I think we're all guilty of that. If I'm getting an
Mhm.
extra 10,000 this year, I want to try to do extra 10,000 stuff versus taking it because there's really part of your wealth, taking that and investing it or stashing it away and things like that. Because I've been guilty of it before, but I can tell you, I remember when it came to dating, I was talking to my two best friends about it, and because they're married, they're great, faithful men of God, and but I'm still out here trying to date and things like that, and I used to tell them I was like, and I finally. Certain things you have to say to yourself, you have to say out loud in order for
Yes.
you to really understand and grasp. I remember saying, I just straight up talked, I said, I don't know if I'm ready because and this is exactly what I said. I said I am financially insecure. And it's not that I wasn't making the money. It's not that I want to do anything because I'm a great producer. I'm not gonna lie, but I struggle. I know me when it comes to the management of it, and
Mhm.
that's where I know not that I'm bad. All of my bills get paid, things like that. But I know that if I could do better, I could be in a different place. So when I do get married, that's one of the requirements I want for the woman that's going to be in my life. I want her to be able to be my home's admin. I want her to be able to take care of everything because I want to safely trust her with everything. I'll go out and work 14 jobs if I need to make sure we're good. But I just want to make sure somebody in my life has been is equipped enough to handle what it is that I'm trying to do because I know me. And because like people like to talk about self-care, self-care, self-care. Add this one thing to your self-care routine, and I guarantee your life will be better. Add teaching or add telling yourself exactly how you lie to yourself or how you try to boost yourself up, knowing that it's not what it is. You can go and get you a facial, you can go and get you a manicure, pedicure. It means nothing if you continuously lying to yourself and telling yourself or trying to make yourself think that you're in a different place that you're really not. And I think because you were honest with yourself, you were honest with God, you did what you're supposed to do, you were rewarded for it, later on. Because moving is not easy, even in the same state. You have to, you got to. I don't know if you use movers or you got to try to find people to move for you and all this
Mhm.
type of stuff. And all of this stuff was taken in with the plan that God laid out before you, and you took it and you did what you needed to do. And I'm extremely proud of you because the area that we come from is very easy for you to get. And I remember this old man told me this years ago. He said, Columbus is a place, if you don't leave, you'll be forever stuck. I never
And I
understood what
believe
he was
that.
saying until, later on. I'm like, that guy knew exactly what he was talking about. If you don't
Yes.
leave, you'll forever be stuck. And I'm telling you, being able to just make a decision to, and we all know, I know the company you're talking about. It's a great company. They give out great bonuses. They throw good parties. They do all of these
Yes.
different things. And it's like you said, it's not a bad job. It just wasn't the best job and the best of what God had for you. Amen.
Absolutely.
Okay. So who who can be wealthy? Is there, as we go through all of this, you know what? Anybody can be wealthy. What's the responsibility of wealth? Now, let me ask that.
Mhm. Mhm. I would say the first thing is to have a why, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What we will never acquire anything. And what's your why factor?
Right.
The why factor can be, you know what, I want to. Um, I'll give you a great example. At Finish Wealthy, Friday night we had a networking, and every attendee was able to say what's their name, where they're from, and why do they want to finish wealthy. One person said that it is important to them because they went through um, abuse as a child, and they were staying in shelters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they want to be able to provide that same thing for they were in hiding for probably like a year. They want to
Mm-hmm.
be able to be a philanthropist and have a trust that's going to cater to mothers that are in that situation so that they can have housing and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So the wealth, as far as like the attentive wealth, is number one is to have your why factor, right? And then the why, not just having a why factor, but having a plan
Mm-hmm.
and being able to align yourself with the right person with that plan. So a lot of times we think we can Google everything, we can TikTok everything, we can YouTube everything, but there's no cookie cutter approach to wealth
Right.
because wealth looks different for someone with children.
Right.
Wealthy children different from elderly, someone who's maybe in their 60s or 70s. It looks different for just different age groups and age ranges.
Right.
And so the main thing is number one, it starts with belief. Once you have your belief that you can be wealthy, the second thing is your why factor. The other thing is getting a plan, and that plan entails life insurance is the foundation of any wealth plan. um, I like to say that in our community, we don't do a good job of it, right? By now,
Fish plates and doggone GoFundMe's is our
no,
insurance. Is our
yeah.
insurance plan these days. Yeah.
But think about the word. I think a lot of us in our community we miss it. The word is life insurance. It's for the living. It's not for the dead.
Right.
And so historically, a lot of times our community thought about burial. I need to be able to bury my spouse or my grandmother, grandfather. Well, more than bury them, because the reason why grandma's house was lost is because there was a $10,000 policy. There wasn't enough
Right.
to pay off the house. If it wasn't paid off, or the house was paid off, it wasn't enough to pay the property taxes.
Right.
And so that's the very foundation. And so I would say if someone doesn't have life insurance, they don't need to have an investment. They don't need to have the savings. That is the very foundation, because it is literally life. It is literally when someone passes away, their life should be the same or even better. I like to give an example. Let me do a quick financial need analysis. It is DIME. D is for debt, I is for income, M is for mortgage, and E is for education, which means um, do you have enough? How much debt do you have? You know, what is your income? Do you need to, if something happens to you, let's say you're married, do you need to replace your income? And so you can say, I need $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month. Do you want 5,000 for the next 5 years, 10 years? So let's say a person, I'm just going to do for quick math, said, I need 10,000 for the next 10 years. So right now that's 100,000. Let's say the person was said, okay, I have 100,000 in debt. So the first is dime, 100,000 in debt. They have 100,000 and they need 10,000 a month for 10 years. That's the D for the dime, I for income, the M for mortgage. Their house payoff is 200,000. So right now we are at 400,000. And then the E is for education. I have some kids. I want to leave them at least, let's just put 150,000 aside for education for two kids. We'll split it 75, 75. So that math adds up to 550,000. If that is your need, if you have less than $550,000 on life insurance, you're underinsured.
Wow.
Dime, debt, income, mortgage, and education. And so if you have a house right now, if someone has a policy for 150,000 and your payoff on your house is 350, you're underinsured. I like to call it the difference. You have liability insurance, which
Right.
means something happened. Two people are married. That you got that big nice house with a $500,000 on it, but you got $75,000 life insurance. You got liability. You don't
Right.
have full coverage
Right.
because you don't have enough for your legacy. A
Right.
good man leaving inheritance to his children, and there's not enough to pay off that house, that rental property, that whatever. It's not enough to pay off that debt, that card, or whatever. And so those are things that we're not taught. We're taught burial. We're taught
Hmm.
put them in the ground. And so we have to think about succession. And I want to say I am 48. I got my first $1 million policy 3 years ago. My policy is less than my hair. It's
Wow.
$176 for um
For the
a
year
million
or for the
dollars
month?
a month.
100. Okay. 176 a
But
month.
that's less than my hair.
Right. Right. I got you.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes me and my husband we can go to um
Ruth
let's
Chris.
say
Ruth
we
Chris.
go eat seafood, right?
Yeah.
A
Steak
Ruth
48.
Chris, you can spend more. A
Yeah.
seafood, we just spent $110, for someone that wasn't even fancy.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, what do we value? But I value the fact of, I have an only child. Together we have four.
Uh-huh.
My four bonus boys. We have adult kids. Do we want to leave? Do we want? Think about my brand being finished wealthy. It would be insane for someone to have to do a GoFundMe for me. My husband was a national comedian. It would be insane for his family to have to figure it out. And
Right.
so when my father died, I got a plant, and it was a plant that and I was his only child. The plant that my job sent.
Wow. Ugh.
So yeah, so that's the foundation. But then you want to talk about investing. So bottom line is the strategy is different for everyone. Start with life insurance, then look at what you can afford to invest, and what kind of investor are you? Are you conservative? Do you want to be a little bit risky and things of that nature? If you're not an investor, you can do a high yield savings account, which is FDIC insured, which means basically your money is protected. That's not really going to grow your money fast, but it's safe. It's not going to go up and down like the stock market. But just having diversity of things, because wealth will not just be one thing. Like, I got all this money in savings. You got to have businesses. That's a part of your wealth. And
Hmm.
decide, like, for example, you're in trucking. And so
Hmm.
you can decide part of your wealth strategy should be, okay, do I want to leave when it's my time to transition or retire? Do I want my business to retire when I retire?
Hmm.
Or when I transition, do I want my business to die when I die? That needs to be part of your succession plan. Okay, I want my son, my daughter to be now the CEO of this business. And so that's transfer of wealth. I'm going to leave this to my children when I retire. I'm going to leave this to my children when something happens. And just having a plan, because that's written plan, that plan that's written and made plain.
So, speaking of like side hustles and things like that, we've always heard at least 7 streams of income, right? How is it that people can get to 7 streams of income starting right now? Like, if you can have just a job right now, what could people do to get to at least, let's say 3? Because I don't want to make it too hard for people. What can people do to get to 3 streams of income at this point?
I think number one, first thing is identify your gift, because your gift will make room for you, right? Is your gift teaching? So if your gift is teaching, then you need to be coaching. You can do it. Teaching translate to coaching. You could be tutoring. It translates to tutoring. You could be writing how to, whatever your field is. You can write a how to guide or things like that to generate money, because your money is going to be aligned with your gift. If you have the gift of encouragement, speaking, because all of that exhortation that's going to line up with that. So your gift is what's going to, make room for you. So the other thing is you have the gift of administration. That could be a VA business. You could be a virtual assistant. You could
Hmm.
be a project coordinator. You could be a project manager. And it doesn't have to be full time. That doesn't have to be your full time job.
Right.
Even in the helping other people with other things, because you're organized. You could be
Right.
an event planner. Those are the things that you can do. So one stream could be your corporate job, because I don't believe in leaving your job prematurely, because entrepreneurship looks easy, because it's a such thing as the appointed time and anointed time. Reference David.
Hmm.
David was anointed as king, but it was a while before it was appointed time for him to take it. So,
Right.
planning. And then this is the big thing that people don't like to do, especially believers. Sometimes we got to do what we don't want to do to get to what we need to be.
Okay, hold on. Let me ask you something. Now, I just want to make sure we clarify to the people. I don't want people sitting up here Don't come calling me, emailing me, talking about she told me I can sell crack until I get to where I need to go. That's not what she's saying. She's not saying that at all. What she's saying is you're gonna have to push beyond your comfort zone. Am I understanding what you're saying correctly?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
sometimes somebody may present an opportunity to you and you say, well, I'm not a salesperson or I'm not a whatever. Like, for example, I may present life insurance to someone and they say, well, I'm not a salesperson. To me, it's not a sales, it's a conversation. Life insurance is like diaper and wipes.
Right.
People are going to die. They're going to need life insurance. It's a need.
Right.
People are going to be born. They're going to need diaper and wipes. And so, but that's not, I'm not pushing that here,
Right.
but whatever it is, there may be something that costs you that you may not love, but I believe we look biblically, when the word said cast a net on the other side, sometimes the very thing that you're familiar with isn't producing.
Right.
And so you need to cast a net on the other side and be open to something. And if you don't like it, you can stop. If it's not producing, stop. But one thing for sure, everything that we don't touch will fail. You fail every time if you don't try something.
Right.
So being open. And another thing, so the first thing is monetize your gift. Identify with your spiritual gifts and monetize your gifts. So that's one stream. The other stream is, whatever, what are you passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
And then thinking about things like the other stream is doing, you can be an affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
So certain brands that you like I like Black Girl Vitamins. I plan on being an affiliate of that. You can go on Amazon, some of your favorite products, you can be an affiliate. And what affiliate is every time somebody hits click, they make a purchase, you may get 10% over here, you may get 25% over there. Even if it's a software,
Yep.
if you like it, you can be an affiliate. And that's what you call passive income. It's kind of money. You don't have to do anything. You're making money in your sleep. And then those other streams are something you can have a business, but you have help. Get an assistant. Get someone that can help you with it.
Right.
It can be a virtual assistant. A fractional, somebody you
Mm-hmm.
have 25% of the time that can help you run it while you work your job or while you work some other things.
And to add to that, I would say research. Once you know, because there's still a way to do everything. We
Mhm.
could. It would be good for if we could just if I could have done my first podcast, my first episode, and made $1 million, I probably would have walked away and let y'all work it out on your own. But since I know that's
Yes.
not the plan, I know that this gift is bigger. Like I said to you in the background, I've been working on this for at least almost a good year. Matter of fact, I go back and I look at some invoices and things like that, and I'm like, yes, it has been a year. But like you said, David was anointed king long before he became king. There was a time where, and it's just like I didn't think it was gonna ever happen. And then a lot of it for me was, and it could be for a lot of people as well, don't allow fear to choke anything that you got going on. And because the Bible tells us fear not in so many different ways, so many different times. Yet we come with these inferiority complexes, we come with these, it could be sin. It could be a lot of stuff that we're dealing with that's keeping us from going forward. Because, you know, I'm telling you, I've been that guy. I understand what it's like. I understand what it is. But there's a niche out here for you. There's a place out here for you. There's something that you can do and say that people will be able to say, you know what? I learned that from Erica. I learned that from Darell. Because there's nothing like word of mouth. There's nothing like word of mouth advertisement. People trust your face. They trust your anointing. They trust your results. It doesn't matter what it is. I know somebody right now that can cook the best pot of collard greens I've ever had. She just don't sell them. You know what I'm saying? But if she
Yes.
decided to sell them, then I think that she can prosper. I know people who can cut hair with the best of them, but they're just not on a grand scale, or they don't, because a lot of times we don't know how to scale our businesses as well either, because that's important. Everything that you mentioned involves some sort of work, because I've seen people start businesses who have multi-million-dollar ideas but can't get beyond their laziness, can't get beyond where they are. And just real quick, talk to the people about scaling business and, getting to like from step 1 to step 3, because I don't want to
Mhm.
overwhelm the people today. And this is a great conversation. We can pick this up at a later date, but this is a great conversation. But I want you to help people to just get started, like right now, from where they are.
Yeah. So I want to say the first thing is having an LLC doesn't make you a business owner.
Uh oh.
Meaning You
Uh-oh.
can file a LLC, but a lot of people have LLCs, but they're doing nothing, right?
Right.
So I would say the first step is consulting help to decide what is it that once you know what you want to do, talking to someone about what your business structure should be. Should you be a nonprofit or a for-profit? Should you be a LLC or an Inc? So foundation is important. So I would say once you identify what it is that you want to do, then structuring your business appropriately. So let's say your route is going LLC. So you're going to be ABCD LLC. Determining what licenses and education, what licenses that you need with your business as well. So you get the LLC through the Secretary of State. You get a business license through, it could be the city or the county, depending on what area you live in. And then you get your EIN number. And I want to say EIN number, also known as employee identification number,
Mm-hmm.
also known as a tax number. That's something that's free. You don't have to pay people to do that. And you want to, so that's like basic elementary kind of, entry level stuff. And then you want to open up a business banking account because you don't want to commingle money. And
Right.
commingle money basically is saying once you establish a business, you want to have everything funneled through your business. If you're buying supplies, you're paying for marketing, you're paying for flyers, you're paying for whatever it is, funnel those things through your business account so that you really know what you're spending. So that's kind of the basic foundation. There's a lot of misinformation out here of how we'll go get an LLC, then you can go buy a car with your LLC. There's misinformation here about business credit. If that was the case, everyone would have a LLC and just be rich. I got $500,000 in business credit, or etc. So I would just say, if you want to scale your business properly, it's making sure number one, you have the right structure, and then you're not commingling money, because when it is time for funding, they're going to ask for your bank statements.
Right.
And if every time they look at your bank statements, they see Papados, they see Firestone, things that are not lining up with your business, it's just not going to be popular.
Right.
And then as it relates to business credit, I want it to be very, very clear. You are a personal guarantor. They absolutely are going to pull your personal credit. With some credit cards, they are going to put it on your personal credit. Like for
Absolutely.
example, Capital One. If you have, we have a luxury transportation company. We have a Sprinter and we have some limos. Didn't know Capital One was one of the cards that we have business. It is on our personal
Personal.
credit as well
Mm-hmm.
as our business credit. Chase is on your personal credit
Mm-hmm.
and it's on your business credit. American Express
I was
is
saying, yep,
not
Amex do
on
that
your
too. Yep.
personal, but if someone ever has like a late payment, sometimes they won't put on your personal, but they will, if something
On your
is late
business.
and things of that nature. But your financials have to be tight. So I also recommend as business owners that you start paying yourself appropriately,
Mm-hmm.
not just saying this is my business, so I'm just going to pull out whatever money. Establish what your salary is going to be, whether it's on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, etc., and use a payroll company. For me, I use ADP. It
Mm-hmm.
takes no time to run my payroll. I establish what I want to get paid every 2 weeks, and I pay myself W-2 myself through ADP. Not pushing that company, but there are several. You can do it through Square. There's several different services that will allow you to do it. And why? Because think about, if you're a full-time entrepreneur and you don't pay yourself properly and you're just pulling money out of your account, when you want to go buy a car, you don't have provable income. You
Right.
don't have a 1099 or you don't have a W-2,
Right.
because that's a part of scaling your business, is being able to say, with my payroll company, I get a W-2. I get a check stub.
Right.
I pay myself. I get direct deposit.
Right.
I have even the work number, just like they can verify income, they can verify employment and things of that, and it's not expensive,
Right.
you know. So it's not as expensive as people think. So those are just some basic foundational things. I'll just go through the steps again. Proper foundation, file with the Secretary of State, get your employer identification number, but you also want to have the proper NAICS codes, which is NAICS, I think, which is category.
Yeah.
Make
With the
sure you
federal
choose the
government. Yeah.
proper. What is your business consulting? Is it
Yep.
engineering? Is it construction? Because it's going to ask you that when you do your business filing.
Yep.
And just also don't don't try to every just slow and steady. I'm not saying be stagnant or whatever, but when sometimes people hire too quickly,
Mm-hmm.
but know what you need to handle yourself now and what you need to outsource. I like to say, as a CEO, you shouldn't be doing a $10 task.
Hmm.
Find a VA that can do.
Oh, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You teaching
find
right now.
someone that can do that. For me, I have two VAs.
Mm-hmm.
One person does, more of like my little templates and stuff on social media. The other person is truly administrative because I know what my strength is. I want to focus on strategy. I now have a VA that's going to be following up with my life insurance clients because I don't have time. I'm going to write the business. My assistant's going to follow up, and
Mm-hmm.
so building a team, and you can be fractional. They don't have to be full time. You can say, okay, this is what I can afford. I can afford a person to do 10 hours a week. I can afford somebody to do 20 hours a week. I can afford, different things. But but knowing that and the biggest thing is stop comparing. Darell has been in business for a long time. So don't try to model you starting tomorrow after how long he's been in business, or Jane Doe has been in business, or someone else. Your business model is different. Your business structure is different.
Yep.
This other person may be a service-based business. You may be a product-based business. So comparison is a thief of success.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to run your own race. I can't
And,
say that enough. You have to run your own race.
and I tell people all the time, don't compare your chapter 1 or glossary to somebody's chapter 12. We don't know what part of the story we walked in on. People, you don't know what people had to get to where you are. Just run your race one step at a time. So I got a couple of questions here. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Let me see. Did you see any of the comments on the screen?
Savings not about the amounts, but it's about the habit. I see some of the kind of responding.
Okay.
Hi, Apostle Kimley. I see you. Hi, Latrella. Hey, let's
Uh,
see who else do I see.
Okay.
Some
Kimberly
familiar
said,
faces. Crystal.
okay.
I love it.
She said, how do we walk out scripture in the natural? That's a great question. I'm assuming she's concerned with wealth.
Yes. So the main thing is, like I like to say, the natural part is lining up with the scripture. So write the vision, make it plain. That's your will.
Mm-hmm.
And so really in the natural part is saying, okay, what are my wishes? So as it relates, I'm going to actually use that in three different cases. So you're writing out in your will, you're saying, what are my wishes? I want, if you are a single parent, I want guardianship of my child to go to this person.
Mm-hmm.
I want, if you're not single or married, it doesn't matter. I want my car to go to this person. I want my house to go to this person. I want my business to go to this person. The natural is you're writing your vision out in that will. You can also have a trust where you can have life insurance and put it in a trust. You can
Mm-hmm.
put your home in a trust. And literally, a trust allows you to do more than a will because you can say, okay, I have, let's say $500,000. I want my child to get $50,000 at 21. I want them to get another $100,000 at 25. You really can spell it out more. So the natural part is this is scripture, but the practical tool is a will, or write the vision and make it plain. The other
Mm-hmm.
practical tool is a trust. Also, a part of that is a business plan.
Mm-hmm.
Every business won't, I'm going to say something taboo. Every business won't need a business plan because a business plan is really more toward when you're going to the bank to get funding,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and you don't have to do this big. Some people think, well, when I first started, I do it, but it's great to have, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not a requirement across the board. But
Mm-hmm.
every vision needs a mission statement, etc. So that's really how you walk it out in the natural. The other part is, in scripture, which says, above all, wish you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. That is the think about health. So we can pray about, hey, I don't want to take my high blood pressure medicine. No, if you know you're not going to change your lifestyle, take the medicine until you
Right.
make the lifestyle changes.
Say that one more
Um,
time. Say it one more time, because
Take the
we
medicine until you lose
sensationalism
the
has gotten a
weight.
lot of us in trouble.
Yes. And so
Mm-hmm.
we have to use wisdom.
Yep.
The other portion of mental health
Yep.
is, everything is not a spirit.
Right.
Sometimes we really can be overwhelmed and consumed. And so sometimes when people are going through mental health and people want to do a deliverance service, no, that person, or just telling somebody just pray about it, that is not enough.
Nope.
Because the work part is, I'll just give an example. As a leader, I remember being so overwhelmed, and I just heard just pray about it or you're mature and things of that nature. So when I finally got into therapy for the first time was in 2017, I didn't need my therapist for spiritual impartation.
Right.
I needed my therapist to teach me how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
I needed my therapist to help me say no.
Right.
I needed my therapist to provide some clarity and confirm some things that yes, I was in a toxic church. Yes, I
Oh,
was in a
oh,
toxic work
oh,
environment.
you could never be in a toxic church. Come on.
Yes. And so, but what I'm saying is, I didn't use those words. The therapist used those words and said, "When are you leaving?" So I had, it's like the wall of courage came through therapy. Is you are in
Yep.
a toxic environment, you
Yep.
are being abused from the pulpit, and
Yep.
so the practical part is me going to get the natural help who helped me say no, help me set boundaries, help me when I remember, I'll give an example. I remember having pneumonia one time and being out of church. I missed Bible study. Then I started going through this bullying. The church is a hospital for sick people. You need to get back to church. I had bronchitis and pneumonia. I remember coming to a service and still was feeling really bad. And
Right.
then the leader saying, "You sitting down on God." I had just getting over pneumonia and bronchitis.
All
I'm still
manipulation.
talking. I'm
All
still
manipulation.
manipulation.
Yep.
But let me just say this. I couldn't stand, I could barely stand up because I'm getting over pneumonia, I'm getting over bronchitis. But when I shared that with my therapist, she said, "Okay, when are you leaving now?"
Mm.
But what I'm saying is the practical part was I needed someone to give me the tools and the courage, right?
Yep.
Of practical
A good
strategy
push
of
in the
setting
back.
a boundary
Yep.
to do something different. And
Hmm.
so that's how you walk it out is using God says have a multitude of counsel. Somewhere
Safety.
along the way, we have thought the multitude of counsels have a bishop, have a pastor, have an apostle, have a minister. But that counsel can be a counselor, it
Hmm.
can be an older couple, it can be your pastor, it can be a friend.
Right.
And so that's the natural of being good health. The better that we are, the better we're able to be to other people. And I want to say this, well, a lot of times people say money isn't everything, and it isn't. But what I will say is, why is it important for us to finish wealthy? If we are not in lack and have resources, money gives us better access to healthcare.
Hmm.
Money allows us to buy better food. It's a difference between the dollar menu and organic. It's the difference between plant based and something that's like quick and cheaper. It's a
Hmm.
difference between I may need, just different vitamins or different things going to help me take care of my wellness wealth. And
Hmm.
so that's why we want to be good stewards so that we can have more access. Money gives us access to being in a better school district
It does.
for our children.
It does.
It gives us money to pay a copay um, for our mental health. And
Absolutely.
sometimes the therapist that you need may not take insurance. So you may
Right.
have to pay out of pocket and things of that nature. So that's the totality of it. I'm going to have these in scripture. Where is it? Ecclesiastes. It talks about having 8 streams of income
Hmm.
because there may be basically danger in the land. Something may happen in the land, famine in the land. Something may happen. But having that is not just for bragging rights. It's not just to say, I got this new house, I got this new car,
Hmm.
but even ministry costs, right?
Hmm.
The Matthew ministry, when I was hungry, you fed me.
Right. Right.
When I was in prison, you came to see about me.
Right.
Guess what? It costs money to feed people.
Yeah.
When I was
That,
naked, you clothed me.
and especially like, unfortunately, we live in uncertain times right now, and what you're saying right now is extremely important because I need people to understand. Yes, we do need to have a nest egg. We also need to have emergency funds. We also need to be able to take care because things are going up every day. Because I'm just looking at my own light bill. It goes from 200 this month to 300 that month, but I'm only at home 2 days a month. 2 days a week. So how is it? You know what I'm saying? So we have to be smart about the way we move, especially in these different seasons that we're encountering every day. And so everything that you're saying is A1, it's spot on. And I promise you, this is good. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I got a question for you right here. There you go. So
Okay,
basically,
so
that's my
which
aunt
company
asking
is
which
insurance
company
over?
can insure overweight Black women for about $750,000.
Okay.
Trusted companies.
Okay. So what I will say is there's not a blanket answer because it really depends on health because being overweight is just one thing. It depends on what is it paired with. Is it overweight paired with diabetes? Is it
Mm-hmm.
paired with someone that may have a cancer background? So it's not really a blanket answer. But the thing is there are several companies that can insure over for over 750,000. It just will require that amount will require a medical exam. And if the person can pass a medical exam, the policy may be rated based on the other issues, which means rated means it may be a little bit more. Like they may say, okay, this person has their overweight is different. So most of us are overweight, right?
Right.
So it just depends on what the BMI is compared with a diagnosis, right? And so if that person is 100 pounds overweight plus diabetic um, and high blood pressure and something else, then it could be, a possible issue. But a person's overweight, like most of us are,
Mm-hmm.
we're not, most insurance companies not super strict by the weight chart as they used to be. It's just a rate. It could be rated, which means a policy was going to be $200 a month. It could be an extra $25 or $50 a month, which means because of the risk, because of these factors, we're going to insure you, but we're going to rate you because life insurance is all about risk. And so what I would say to anyone that have questions about insurance or may have been denied before, or even questionable, is even if you've been denied before with another company, all insurance companies are not equal. Underwriting guidelines are different. I write for several different carriers, and where one carrier says no, another one says yes. And I always do what's best for the client on a case by case basis because it really is case by case.
Okay, so let me ask you the insurance question real quick. We're about an hour and 10 minutes in. You good?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
good.
Um, can you explain real quick the difference between term life and whole life and how it applies to our everyday lives?
Okay. Term life is life insurance for a specific term, which means it can be a 10-year term, 15-year term, 30-year term, which means after the term, your policy is going to be X amount for 30 years. Let's say a 30-year term, X amount flat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And term is usually the most affordable and cost-effective insurance. Whole life is what you call permanent insurance and or cash value insurance. My belief system is buy term, invest the difference. The reason why I mentioned earlier, I have one of my policies is $1 million. The premium is 176. If I had that same policy whole life, that premium would be probably $800 a month.
Wow.
So you're going to pay about 4 times the difference with whole life. And people say, well, hey, you can borrow against it. Not really. You can and you can't. So you can borrow against it. But keyword, why do you want to borrow your own money?
Right.
So you're borrowing and you're not borrowing up to that face amount. You're borrowing a portion and you're paying interest on it.
Right.
So I'll give you an example of, let's just say the older generation may have a $10,000 whole life policy. And the
Mm-hmm.
whole life policy, they probably had it for 20 years. To be honest with you, they pay for their policy over and over again.
Yeah.
Because let's say the premium $50, they pay for over and over again.
Yeah.
What if they got to a point where they could borrow 5,000, right? They borrow 5,000 from it today. Grandma passed away. You think grandma got a $10,000 policy?
She just got
No,
5,000.
she just got because it decreases the face amount,
Right.
and you can't bury anyone with five thousand
Right.
dollars.
Right.
So
Right.
honestly, I think not that my belief system and Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, David Bach, all in the financial arena. Susie Orman was a mainstream financial advisor and guru. Dave Ramsey, well, most of us know Dave Ramsey. David Bach wrote several books: Start Late, Finish Rich, The Latte Factor, several different books. Believe in buy term, invest the difference. The key example is if a 30-year-old had a policy for 150,000 and that policy would be, let's just say $30 a month. You take the difference, and with whole life, it may be $100 a month. Take the difference. The difference is $70. Instead of putting that in a whole life policy, pay for that $30 a month for the term life policy, $70 and put it in a mutual fund.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make way more money than you would be trying to pay that extra money on a whole life, since I can borrow against it. Another thing is like universal life and things like that. You don't really need universal life is tied to the stock market. You don't need your life insurance tied to the stock market. Guess what? When the stock market goes up and down, so does your face amount. The face
Yeah.
amount is the amount of your coverage. So I think honestly, in the African American community, we choose whole life because we saw our ancestors
Grandparents.
do it,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we didn't really seek out what was the best option for us. Um, so that's my take
And a
on it.
lot of them got taken advantage of. A lot of them
Absolutely.
got taken advantage of. Cause I remember my grandparents, they from Pittsburgh, Alabama. Shout out to down the road. But they would I remember the insurance man, it would always be like a Saturday. He would just make a trip down, that's Russell County, Alabama. He would make a trip down there. He would just go up and down the road and just collect money from people from different
Mhm.
life insurance policies. But when they passed and went on to be with the Lord, like you said, they didn't have anything there. They were just paying for policies over and over again with no benefit to them in the long run. So, and unfortunately, a lot of older people really don't like to listen to the younger people. But if we're younger, we got to take care of older parents and things like that. We have a responsibility. Sometimes we got to go above them and we got to go beyond them and say, "I'm going to get this policy for you, and I'll just pay for it." And I know, and again, all of this is part of your wealth being built up, because at the end of the day, we've seen people. I've heard about people financing homes for 50 years, things like that. Although they paid for it 20 years ago, you still got an extra, 30 years to pay on this house that it depends on where you live. It may not, get any more value than what it has in it. Yes,
Mhm.
all houses are supposed to appreciate, but all houses don't appreciate. You don't blame your grandparents, you don't blame your parents, because a lot of them do stuff based on the knowledge that they have. And that's why shows like this, talking about money, is getting people. I don't know what's going to
Yes.
come from this when it comes to people and their money. However, for me, this is a seed that I would like to plant for my podcast in order for people to come back. You can come back and watch a replay. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe. And I want people to understand that this is real information. This is how we, as kingdom believers, have to operate. Yes, God performs miracles, but it's always going to be through a person. So somebody who somebody who may get prophesied a house, don't necessarily mean you're going to, just like she said, walk into a house just because you ran around in a circle, or you drop $100 on, in a basket or something like that. It takes planning. There are steps that need to be taken. There are a lot of these things that need to take place in order for us to get to this point. And please, don't be jealous. Don't be angry. Ask people how they got to that point. A lot of times, you sitting there, you upset with your brother or your sister, yet you don't want to do what they did to get to that point. There are a lot of people out here today who I'm talking about me, even me personally. I like to feel like I got a lot of wisdom. I got knowledge. I got a lot of knowledge. I got to understand a lot of understand about what I know about. And if it's beneficial to anyone else, I'll freely give it to you. Not all the
Yes.
time, because some of this stuff y'all gonna have to start paying for. But information is, I'm willing. I wish somebody just asked me something. Like, I'm a truck driver. I at my job right now, we have people. My job is giving away $7,500. Oh, how can I get it? Well, you're gonna have to sacrifice. You got to go to truck driving school for 4 weeks. You could go from making $30,000 to almost six figures in a matter of weeks if you just take the time to get this free training. I tell people all the time, hey, even my coworkers, I say, you could work on this dock getting these $20 an hour, $25 an hour, or you could just get this free training to get this free CDL. You're already insulated. You have to take advantage of these things. You got to think beyond where you are right now. So I appreciate you, Big Sis, for being here and telling people, what it is that they need to do, because this is needed. This is something that we don't like to talk about as a whole. And I'm talking about the church, particularly the Black church. I got to put it in. It's
Hmm.
unfortunate that we have to have those distinctions, but this is what we have right now. So the Black church needs this information more than anybody. So
Absolutely.
how do people get in touch with you to get this information if they want to go, further with this conversation with you? And I'll do what I can. We can set something up to come back later, but for the time being, to increase what it is you have going on, I want people to be able to get in touch with you. So how was that?
People can reach me at go.finishwealthy.co. You can also reach me on my page, which is Finish Wealthy on Facebook, and I'll drop some contact information there. But it's go, which is go dot finishwealthy.co. And
Uh,
outside of life insurance, I help you scale your business,
mhm.
um, help you monetize your gifts. So we do life insurance. I do partner with people for investments, and then the other portion is scaling your business appropriately. So when I say guys give you the ability to get wealth, I provide the roadmap. And I would like to say the work isn't sexy, but the work is necessary.
Okay.
We have to do the tactical part. So I'm excited. So thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really passionate about it. It's time for the kingdom just to step up our game. And I just wanted to say one thing I didn't say is I like to say I didn't wake up like this and I still haven't arrived.
Right.
Um, I've been through bankruptcy. I've had more month than money. I was the struggling single mom. I bumped my head a lot. And what I will say is now is not the season for pride.
Mm,
I work with a lot of kingdom people, especially leaders, and I know that people are struggling right now. If you know that someone, no matter where you are, whether it's struggling with your credit, there's something that you need um, to fix in your business or to get your business started, don't be afraid to ask for help or too prideful to ask for help. I think sometimes when we have a big brand or we think when people perceive us a certain way, we don't want to ask for help because we feel like we're exposed, that we're naked. But guess what? I am very transparent, and I feel like the growth that I have is because I was naked enough to ask for help. Hey, someone that's on the live, Kimley, I've asked her, she's helped me scale my business with some different questions about, hey, you getting your payroll together and things of that nature. And
mhm.
so that's the big thing, is not being prideful, because somebody, as the church would say, so what you need is in the house. What you need is, there'll be different people coming on Darrell's podcast. Darrell may have some answers, or he may have a referral. There'll be people on your social media page that have solutions and answers. But if a closed mouth doesn't get fed,
Mhm.
and so we have to be willing to go and get the help because we don't know everything.
Right. Right. I mean, and we forsake not the gathering of ourselves. Every piece to the kingdom is vital. Everybody, somebody's going to specialize in the foundation. Somebody's going to specialize in the plumbing. Somebody's going to specialize in the lighting, the framing, the roofing, all of these things. But we're trying to build a house. We're trying to equip people. I know that I'm a teacher. I don't step into prophetic circles unless God put me into prophetic circles. I know that God knows I don't want to be a pastor. However, if He ever made me a pastor, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Loading,
But I
loading,
really,
loading.
really, really, really appreciate you. And I really appreciate the fact that you not you. It's one thing that's worse than anything in the world is it's an elitist believer, an elitist Christian. You get to a certain point, and then people look down on other people, or they force people to get to the level that they're on. And I see a lot of that going on in different circles today. And I just really appreciate you for like being humble enough to talk to the people, to get people to be to hold people accountable, yet walk and hold their hands to get to the next level, because it's not easy. Because I know me. I know I don't want to. It's certain things I know. It's certain things I'm good at teaching, and I got a great teaching style, I believe. But it's certain things, and this is easy. It's a pride thing for me to believe that people are supposed to be at a certain level because of a certain age. No, a lot of stuff I didn't learn until I became an adult. So, and I've had to buy wisdom. Oh gosh, who knows how many times? But I can say that it's safely in my heart now. And certain things I move differently because of the wisdom and people. I mean, I'm not afraid to go research something. I'm not afraid to. Um, just ask questions like you say. Now asking for help, I'm still working on that part, but I just, but I appreciate the seed being planted and you watering everything that's being said. So I'm about to let you go, but I'm gonna ask people, put in the comments if you would like to speak to Erica, because I will put the phone number up for you guys to call her right now. So I'm gonna give people about 5 minutes for that. If I see somebody that want to call in, I'll put the phone number up. But I really appreciate you coming on tonight. And this is a great conversation. It's needed. The body of Christ needed equipping, things like that. And I will put your information in the I will put your information in the comments, and I will, in the post, and I will let people understand and know this is how to get to you. And man, I really appreciate everybody. You ran my numbers up today too. A lot of your people came on.
Oh, wow.
Advertisement and marketing is amazing. So let me
Thank
see
you for having
here. Let me see. Latrella. You know Latrella?
I do.
Okay. Let's see. You want to talk Latrella? The phone number is 470-615-9822. Okay, I think she's just saying that the conversation was needed. And I really appreciate you joining me today. Man. And see, this right here, we're an hour and 24 minutes in.
Wow.
It just
So Stella
flows.
is a owner of over 20 years, and so she gets it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so she said she just responded to the conversation. Okay. You want to shout out your husband? You want to shout out your daughter and your grandbaby and all of them people while you're here?
Um, I want to shout out my husband. This is we ain't thinking about them kids. No, no, tripping. No, but my husband, Demetrius Henry, most people know him as D.L. Henry, has been an amazing partner, and I just grateful for his support. And we do ministry together. We do business together. We work well together. So I want to say this too, as a part of your legacy, who you marry is super important. It is. Oh my! It is. It is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It is the second most important decision after accepting Christ. Because one thing, if me and my husband got everything else wrong, one thing we get right is building kingdom and building legacy. Literally, if something happened to me, something happened to my husband, we're set. We can quit the day job, we can quit whatever. And it's just powerful when you work together and you're not competitors, and you realize that we're building for a common goal, and
Right.
we think about a good man leaving heritage. So we talk about those kids. The reason why I said we're not thinking about those kids is because me and my husband we understand that our marriage is first
Right.
and then the kids. And
Right.
so we love our kids, but we got to be good.
Right.
And so, but our wealth plan is making sure that our kids are good, but now with a trust with some guidelines.
Right. Right. Because we know them kids. We know who gonna spend it. We know who
Oh,
gonna save. We gonna know who
absolutely.
gonna do what.
Absolutely. And while we're waiting for people to call Darell, I wanted to say one thing. Speaking of kids, we talked about life insurance earlier. It is vital that when you have kids in their 20s, that you own their life insurance policy. I want to say that again. Most young people think nothing is going to ever happen to me. And
Mm-hmm.
some parents even think that. And even if you don't have high risk children, please be the owner and payer of their life insurance while they're young, while they're healthy, because most people, most of the age group is not responsible enough to maintain it. And so I just think that parents should have life insurance on their kids and on their parents.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we have living parents, insure them. And I think that's very vital. So I would think with our kids, we have all of our kids insured. Um, doesn't matter what kind of insurance they have on their own. We just know that ours, we feel safe
Yeah.
knowing that,
Yeah.
we got them covered.
I remember I used to have that crazy mindset of not wanting to have life insurance on my children. Because excuse me, people always think in your mind, well, I don't want my children to leave before me. It's a lot of people that don't want their children to leave before them. However, if they do and they have bills or they may have children, whatever the case may be, it's okay to be covered. It's okay to be covered. It's okay to it's okay to be covered. I'm just gonna stick with that. Um one more thing. I had one more question. I forgot to ask this earlier. talking about insurance, what about insurance that's on your job or through your job? Is that beneficial to people?
No.
No.
I say accept the insurance on your job as far as the life insurance, but everyone needs a individual life insurance policy. Individual life insurance policy is defined as a policy that you own. Did you notice that on your job you don't have a copy of your policy or
Right.
even a policy number? Why?
Absolutely.
Because
You're
you
right.
the danger with only having insurance on your job is when you leave your job, you leave your life insurance.
Yeah.
So if you went to work, think about what's going on in the government right now. If you went to work tomorrow and your badge didn't work, your life insurance is over. For some
Yeah.
companies, it's terminated the same day. For
Yep.
some companies, it's terminated 30 days later.
Yep.
What I've learned and I've seen over and over again, I've tried to get people to get individual life insurance, which means your own policy. No, Erica, I got good life insurance on my job. Well, guess what? During the time of working on a job for 20 years, they had a health condition. They became uninsurable.
Right.
So when their job laid off, they didn't have individual life insurance and they weren't able to get life insurance because for 20 years they depended on the job. A lot of people are leaving work to be entrepreneurs, but they forget that now I'm leaving my group insurance and they never get individual insurance. Um, I'll be honest with you, in the Black community, we are more progressive than we've ever been, but we're still too lax
Yeah.
when it comes to life insurance. So absolutely, Carolyn, we should have both. Get the group insurance because it's at a very low rate and
Well, yep.
get the maximum amount, but still have your individual life insurance that you own, you control, and no matter whether you leave at your own, whether it's your own decision or whether the company restructures, etc., you have your own policy. Your spouse or whomever have their own policy. So that's important.
And a lot of these companies going to do everything they can to make sure they don't pay that policy out too. They're going to investigate your death from top to bottom, in and out, every circle. They're going to try to find out everything they can to make sure that policy is not paid. So always be mindful of that. So Big Six, I really appreciate you being here. This is we're an hour and a half in. We can have this conversation all night because it's vital and it's important. And I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate your brother, my brother DL, and you guys. And I want you guys to enjoy Dallas. Dallas is a beautiful city. I love it. I know my way around. I used to come out there to go to Manpower, and I used to come out there and go to work a lot too.
Look,
But
come on through.
I'm gonna come back, and I know some people out in that area. So
Yeah.
I just really want to say I appreciate you, and I will put your website up, your information up. Nobody decided to call in, fine with me, but I appreciate you. Okay, everybody,
Awesome. Thank you.
give it up
Thank
for my
you.
big sister, Erica Brooks
Thanks,
Henry.
everyone.
Thank you. Okay,
Awesome.
let's see here. All right. So, listen, I had a great show. We had a great show today. I really appreciate everybody being here. Please like, share, subscribe. I thank everyone for their time. I thank you everyone for commenting. I thank you to Erica for running my numbers up today, and I hope this thing gets out and people are blessed by it. And people not only just be blessed by it, but I want people to make the proper steps and make the proper move to get to the next step, because we are in a whole lot of unsure times right now, and I would like for us to all finish wealthy. Okay, I love you guys. God bless you, and I'll see you next week. All right, peace. Hey, little Musty, my bad. I forgot. I was too busy trying to get up out of here because, I'm off to the next thing. Check this out. I forgot to tell you, I need for you to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys being here. Every time you see this chocolate man with these headphones and this doggone black glasses, you know you're finna get some good quality content. We over here talking with some sense over here, okay? I want you to let all you people know. Tell them to meet me every Sunday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on Facebook, YouTube, every streaming platform you can find. Please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate your support, and I thank you. I'll catch you next time. All right? Peace.